Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Around the Nation right here, Jeff Waldorf here with you on this Thursday evening. Welcome to the show. It's got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. We've, of course, got Donald Trump's garden tantrum continued. That's fun. And the social media reaction to it. We then have Trump versus Rex Tillerson. That's an interesting little fight. And I'm going to talk about it. It's going to be interesting. Then we have Lindsey Graham, of course, saying something unfortunate, as he usually does. I'm going to make fun of him mercilessly. So that should be interesting. Then we've got, we're going to talk about The View. We've got another Joy Behar versus Meghan McCain moment. That should be super fun. And then we've got socialism for the farmers. Great. So, fun stuff today, like I said. So, why don't we just kind of dive right into it. And we'll start out the first story here. First, of course, please like and share the stream if you haven't already. It helps us out greatly. Let's see. patreon.com/TYTNation. You can help us by signing up for that, as well as becoming a channel member. So all that stuff helps out the show. I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. I'll be taking, of course, comments and stuff during the show, super chats, reading those. I love the just the interaction that you guys give me. So love reading your comments, taking your questions, answering your questions, and things like that. So please do that. All right. Without further ado, well, that's nice. Thank you, Ronnie Lama Richardson. I do appreciate that. Housewarming gift money. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. See, you guys are great. Best audience in the world. All right. Anyway, let's get to the news. Let's have some fun. And let's go to first story. If it doesn't freeze up, which I think it is, great. No, we're good. All right. It's weird. I had a freeze there for a second. All right. I should get with my tech team, which is me. The static, I'm not sure what the static's about. I don't know. Does anybody else hear that? Or it could be from, like, if nobody else hears that, then of course it could be a local computer issue. Or like a speaker issue. Okay, see, there's more. See, okay, we've got an issue here. I just got a new cable. So I don't know if that's, like, because it's not plugged in right or whatever. Let me take a quick couple of moments, see if I can fix that. All right, here we go. See, yeah, this is what we do. We do live work fixing things. So let's see. Yeah, the mic was off. Let's see if we got any more static though. We just bought a new cable, and if that cable is broken, then I will not be happy. Worse? Wow. It's not fixed. Okay. Well, that's not good. All right, so we're gonna have to take a little bit of a break here and figure out how to fix this issue. So we'll be right back. Okay. Here we go. So what do we got here? We still got a sound? Good sound? Good bad sound? All right. Anything, guys and gals? Is there a change? Bit better. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. With that, so I don't know, man. I'm not sure what is causing this. I don't know. Probably some sort of EM interference or something, but okay. Well, I'll have to troubleshoot this going forward, but I do have a show for you guys. So I guess we'll figure this out. Let's see. All right. Okay. Anyway. Let's try this. Try this again. Now, the official White House Trump. Let me start that again. All right. Now, the official White House Twitter account was buried in mockery earlier today after highlighting a clip of Donald Trump's Rose Garden rant. I told you about that, guys, about that yesterday, guys. Now, the account basically tweeted out a video of Trump's wine session, which was fun, where he went on about how unfair it is to basically investigate the president for possible wrongdoing. So long as he is president, back when Obama was president, he was more than willing to investigate him. And, of course, actually had pressured him to try to release his long-form birth certificate. Yeah. So a lot of people forgot that Donald Trump was a birther. Now, this whole thing happened after Nancy Pelosi basically accused him of engaging in a cover-up. Now, what could he possibly cover up? Well, there's plenty of things, including, obstruction of justice, his tax filings, financial fraud, things like that. Even his school transcripts are things that he'd want to cover up. But nonetheless, his social media team apparently thought that this was a great idea to tweet this out. Awesome. Great. Now, let me read this tweet. This is from the official White House Twitter account, right? So this is supposed to be a Twitter account where they do, White House updates and I guess tweet out patriotic things. I don't know. I really don't follow it, to be honest with you. But here it is, basically tweeting out propaganda, which said, quote, "The Mueller investigation, conducted by a legal team that contributed over 20 times as much to Democrats as Republicans, found no collusion and no obstruction. The witch hunt was nothing but an attempted takedown of the president." That is the official White House Twitter account. And that's not coming from Donald Trump's Twitter account, which we could understand, right? No, this is literally tweeting out political propaganda and talking points from the Trump administration. Bad idea. Terrible, terrible idea. And the internet, of course, agreed. Let me read some tweets here. Shannon Engel says, "Desperation, first thing in the morning." Smell that desperation. Andrew Abramson says, "I can't believe this is the official White House account." I know. Again, tweeting out literal Republican talking points and propaganda that is pro-Trump. That's not supposed to be pro-anything. It's supposed to be the White House. So like you tweet out events and stuff like that. No, save the political propaganda for your own Twitter account. There's more. Neil Bowen says, "If this tweet came from 10 Downing Street in the UK, the Prime Minister would be removed. Government accounts should not be used for political propaganda." Absolutely. JCW says, "For real, go to work." This is embarrassing. Well, look, if Donald Trump was actually operating that, he might have been tweeting that from executive time. Burgers, hamburgers, and Diet Coke. Well, that's what you do when it's executive time. You eat hamburgers and drink Diet Coke and watch Fox News, which is where you get your talking points. And it's where you hear this all the time. Concerned American says, "You've all sold your soul. We can't imagine how you live with yourselves." Well, I have an answer to that. On a gigantic pile of money. Kind of like Scrooge McDuck. More. Susie Ort says, "I remember when White House communications weren't attack ads. They used to be celebratory, patriotic, unifying, and uplifting." Well, that was, of course, before we had the most thin-skinned president in the history of the country. Adriana A. says, "That's a lie. Read the report." You know what the report says? That they didn't find sufficient evidence of a criminal, a criminal conspiracy with the Russian government. But regardless, they had found at least 10 instances of Donald Trump attempting to obstruct the investigation. Just saying. There is that. Marquita says, "Nothing like starting the day with a lie, and so early in the morning, too." Well, Donald Trump has lied over 1,000 times. No, it's got to be more than that. More than 1,000, like 10,000 times. It's amazing how much he lies. Ava says, "Boy, the White House is on a mission to fix yesterday. I bet they want a do-over." And that, of course, is a great reference to what Trump was saying the day before. The Democrats, they want a do-over in the Mueller investigation. No, they don't. No, we want to actually talk about what the Mueller investigation found and actually do something about it. Again, the investigation was a stepping stone, right? You get the investigation, Then you take the findings and you discuss what to do with the findings. In this case, they're talking about the obstruction of justice. So Mueller, what he did is he basically found this and then, as his job, handed it over to Congress so that Congress can do their job and decide whether or not any of these things are high crimes and misdemeanors of which you could impeach a sitting president for. And a high crime doesn't necessarily have to be a crime. It could be lying to Congress under oath. So, and again, Bill Clinton was impeached for lying about his affair. So it's not, it's a bar. It's not that high of a bar. Again, it's not that high of a bar if you're a low person. So there's that. Sandy Ellison says, I'm old enough to remember when the White House Twitter account was used for facts, policy updates, and benign announcements rather than partisan whining. Sad. Stag68 says, it's sad to see an official White House Twitter feed reduced to writing fan fiction. That's awesome. Dorothy Walker said, it is suspicious that you won't honor subpoenas and show your taxes, etc. Makes one think you're hiding something. Cover up? Now again, on the subject of impeachment, you also can be impeached for not giving Congress, not answering subpoenas from Congress. In this case, from the House and their different committees and subcommittees that are actually looking for information, right? They're requesting information from the administration. They're requesting interviews with administration officials. And the Trump administration is saying, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to give you that information. We'll give you some information so we can say we gave you some information, but we're not going to give you what you requested. And we're definitely not going to have people come and actually talk to Congress about it. No, that's not happening. We're not going to let Don McGahn testify. We're not going to have William Barr testify in front of the House. He'll testify in front of the Senate all day because the Senate's Republican controlled, but the House, not doing that. All that is stuff that you can actually, if ordered by Trump, you can be impeached for. So, interesting. And then, of course, there's the taxes. Donald Trump still won't show his taxes. What we know is from copies of official tax reports from the IRS that showed that Donald Trump lost over $1 billion because he's a buffoon. He's a knucklehead. More. Greg Carey says, wow, you guys do a lot to show how guilty you are. Because guilty people don't hide things and obstruct justice. Democratium says, sad. Used to be a White House stood for strength, hope, and dreams. Nowadays, it is home to deceit, paranoia, and propaganda. And that's what happens when you elect a paranoid man-child who has likely committed numerous financial crimes. Again, just talk about, for example, campaign finance violations or, tax fraud. I mean, what happens when you inflate your assets in order to get loans, but then deflate them in order to pay less taxes? That would be considered tax fraud. That is something that they are looking into. But really, right now, and the big problem with this is that we are literally seeing the government, the official government accounts, protect a straight-up con man, politically, right? Now, again, that's our tax money, right, that goes to the people who run that account. That pays their salary. And it is being used to defend the biggest con artist in American history, using political Fox News talking points. This is absolutely infuriating when you think about it. And so I think that's the biggest takeaway here is that Trump has no problem using official government assets to protect himself and use them for partisan attacks on the other side. It's ridiculous. Okay. Moving on. So we lost a bit of time here, so let's get to the next story. Now, President Trump just recently attacked his former Secretary of State in a bizarre tweet following news that Rex Tillerson had testified to the House Foreign Affairs Committee last week. Now, during that testimony, and I'll tell you about that, what he said in that testimony, but he was not very nice to President Trump. So Trump had responded with this tweet, quote, Rex Tillerson, a man who was dumb as a rock and totally ill-prepared and ill-equipped to be Secretary of State, made up a story, he got fired, that I was out-prepared by Vladimir Putin at a meeting in Hamburg, Germany. I don't think Putin would agree. Look how the U.S. is doing. Okay. So, this is fun. He's literally calling his Secretary of State a stupid, dumb person. But wait a minute. I thought you said you hire only the best people. The greatest people. I'm going to hire the best and greatest advisors. That way, I don't actually have to read or do anything because my advisors will tell me what to do because they're so smart. But they're also actually dumb as a rock and completely ill-prepared and ill-equipped to be in the jobs that I put them in. Oops. The other thing is, are you actually really calling someone else stupid? Again, really, this is the guy who lost over $1 billion due to his taxes over 10 years by being such a monumentally bad businessman. I mean, who goes broke running a casino? The house always wins. How do you go broke running a casino? This is a guy that's calling other people dumb and ill-prepared and ill-equipped for their job. Come on. Now, as for Trump being ill-prepared, this is great. He literally bragged about not being prepared. I don't need to prepare. Now, for example, this is before one of his meetings with Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea. He told reporters, quote, I think I'm very well prepared. I don't think I have to prepare very much. This isn't a question of preparation. It's a question of whether or not people want it to happen. And we'll know that very quickly. Wait, I'm so well prepared already that I don't have to prepare. I don't actually have to read anything. I don't actually have to do anything. I'm just prepared by nature of being me. That makes no sense. No wonder all the talks with the North Koreans blew up. I mean, come on. Not only that, but you also had staffers telling the press in a lot of leaked stories early in his presidency that Trump barely reads his briefings to prepare himself for meetings and trips overseas. One staffer said that he had to condense briefings into a single page with killer maps and graphics. And they would pepper his name throughout that briefing so that he will pay attention because he will be so easily distracted and bored that he will stop paying attention unless he sees his name. And different staffers, or maybe the same staffer, since they're anonymous, right? They had further condensed these meetings before one of his trips. I think it was an Asia trip. They had to further condense these briefings into tweet-length segments because he has no attention span and doesn't actually care to be prepared. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? But there's more. You also had Trump allies admitting that he doesn't really even read briefings or really even study anything. And they had been talking, and this is from one of the William Barr hearings. It had Lindsey Graham and William Barr talking about how little Trump actually reads. Take a look at this.
Don't you think President Trump is a one-pager kind of guy?
Excuse me?
President Trump is a one-pager kind of guy.
I suspect he is.
Okay, just remember that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He is a one-pager kind of guy. You know what that means? He will not read past a page. I mean, come on. Now, that led to Tillerson, as I said, saying this, quote, we spent a lot of time, this is in relation to the Putin meeting in Hamburg, Germany, quote, we spent a lot of time in the conversation talking about how Putin seized every opportunity to push what he wanted. There was a discrepancy in preparation, and it created an unequal footing. So, look, we know what this means. He doesn't read. He doesn't prepare at all. at all. So, of course, when meeting any other foreign leader, there is going to be an unequal footing because Trump is a moron and he doesn't care and he won't do his job. Now, look, I actually think that this is more proof that MSNBC's Russiagate hysteria, that, oh, yeah, no, he was taking direct orders from Vladimir Putin, is actually not even remotely real. Why? It's because I think Trump is too stupid to engage in a criminal conspiracy with Vladimir Putin, with anybody. He is too stupid. I mean, he will not even follow directions from his own staff, from his own allies. He will not listen to them. What makes you think that he will listen to anybody else? No, Donald Trump doesn't listen to anybody but Donald Trump. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, Vladimir Putin is actually a smart person, at least when it comes to politics, right? And he knows who Donald Trump is. He knows how to work him, right? So that he can get what he wants when it comes to foreign policy. There doesn't have to be a conspiracy here. Our president is just easily played for a fool because he is a fool. He is a fool. And lastly, I cannot believe the day has come where I will defend Rex Tillerson. Rex Tillerson is a lot of things. But is he dumb? No, he's not a dumb person. Unlike Donald Trump, he ran a business but didn't run it into the ground. He ran Exxon, he's the CEO of ExxonMobil. Then again, it's really hard to run an oil company to the ground, but it's also really hard to run a casino into the ground. So, look, like I said, Tillerson is a terrible person. And you guys know that from previous videos where I've talked about him. But he's not a stupid person. He was not ill-equipped for the job. It was completely different, and I remember reading reports about that, where he's like, oh, I actually have to interact with other people, and I don't like that. I just like being the CEO. I like calling the shots. Whereas this is completely different for me, but oh well, right? No, he's not a dumb person, wasn't ill-equipped. He shouldn't have been in the job in the first place, and I agree with that. But Donald Trump was only going to put someone in that position that was going to, one, defend him, and two, do exactly what he wants. Rex Tillerson was not doing that. And so, of course, he goes against Donald Trump just a little bit, pushes it just a little bit, or doesn't do exactly what the baby wants. He gets kicked out, and that's exactly what happened. But as far as him being dumb, no. He's not dumb. Donald Trump is dumb, and that's what separates them. Now, last thing about Trump's tweet. He also added, look how the U.S. is doing. Well, what does that have to do with anything? That doesn't mean anything. No, if anything, Trump's incompetent leadership is destroying this country. For example, companies who save billions of dollars from his tax cuts are laying off workers. Ford just recently announced 7,000 layoffs. They're cutting, mid-level management jobs in a way to cut costs and create more profit. Again, these companies are already profitable. Now they want to be even more profitable. So they are, quote unquote, restructuring, right? Not only that, but the trade war with China is hurting farmers. And then you also have families who are separated by the Trump administration that will never, ever be reunited. That they can't even find each other anymore. Those are real consequences. You also have wages that are stagnant, healthcare that is in even worse shape than before, thanks to, like I said, due to Trump's interference and attempts to destroy the healthcare market, which was already bad. Now it's even worse. Student loan debt dragging down the economy. We've got to do something about that. Look, for these reasons and many others, the American people are not happy with President Trump. There's a new poll that came out. Shows that 60% of Americans do not want Trump to win re-election. He's also, you know how that's possible? It's because he's losing his own base. There's even Fox News. He's starting to lose them too. All because he is a moron who never had any intention of helping Americans, but lining his own pockets and satisfying his enormous, unquenchable ego. Sad. I think I'm fairly clear. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's go to Lindsey Graham. where I will make inappropriate jokes and probably get myself in trouble. You know, 'cause that's what we're doing. Okay. Change the videos here. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham said something unfortunate while he was criticizing the Mueller investigation recently on Hannity. Let's take a look at that.
You can say this any way you would like, but here's the bottom line. After 2 years of a political rectal exam, nobody's been looked at more than Trump. They found nothing. But the answer for the Democrats is Trump's got to go. They will not beat him at the ballot box. If they try to impeach him, they're going to ensure his reelection. I want the American people to know that Bob Mueller did his job. He looked at Trump every way you could look at Trump, and he found nothing. And this is just political revenge. It's going to blow up in their face, and I can't wait to 2020.
Political rectal exam. Wow. I would never have used that phrasing. Really? I mean, look, is that the first thing that came into his head? He's on live, Fox News. This is not a prepared speech. So it's literally the first thing that popped into his head. Oh, it's a political rectal exam. But I don't know if he poll tested this or whatnot. But that's probably not good phrasing. That is terrible phrasing. I mean, really. I'm not saying anything other than, interesting. But okay, look, let's get to the details, right? So now the Mueller report comes out redacted, right? Now, what we saw from it is basically it said that there wasn't quite enough evidence to prove a criminal conspiracy, and it was actually a really narrow report. Now, the right wing's like, oh, it's such a broad report. Oh, my God. It's so broad. No, it was actually narrow. It looked at 2016, and it looked at possible criminal conspiracy between Donald Trump and the Russian government. That's a pretty narrow mandate, but okay, that's what Republicans say. They say it's broad, whatever, right? But can't you just let it go? You guys won on this issue. No criminal conspiracy, no criminal conspiracy. You can rub it in Maddow's face. No criminal conspiracy. But anyway, okay, moving on, right? So now, part of that report that I'm talking about, and that more Democrats, progressives, should be talking about, is the 10 different examples, at least, of possible obstruction of justice. Now, Mueller himself, he said, look, I can't indict a sitting president. I don't think that I have the authority to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to Congress and then let them do their job, right? So now Democrats in Congress, without sort of the approval of Nancy Pelosi, they're talking about impeachment, which would be the next logical step. Now, Pelosi has allowed the Democrats to open up different avenues of investigations, and we're holding hearings, and we're trying to, suss out the details. But of course, she's non-committal when it comes to impeachment. She keeps coming out and saying, oh, can't do that, where there are Democrats, progressives, who are saying, no, actually, we need to start looking at this. John Yarmuth, of course, you were talking Rashida Tlaib. She was one of the first impeached to MFer, getting in trouble for that, for actually being strong, being a progressive. Other Democrats, as I said, they're talking about this, and it's looking to be a real possibility, right? So now, that's the thing, right? Now, they're looking at, as I said, Trump's campaign, his business, and the administration, all this corruption, financial crimes like tax fraud, for example, or a great example is the recent report where we got a snapshot of his taxes for 10 years, and it shows that he had inflated his assets when he would look to get more loans for his businesses to expand his businesses, right? And then he would deflate his assets, make them seem to be worth less in value when it came time to pay taxes. So that would, I think, constitute tax fraud. And there was also the campaign finance violations, ordering, of course, the Stormy Daniels payments, Karen McDougal, things like that. That is considered a campaign violation, or a campaign finance violation. So, look, you look into those things, Well, those are legitimate investigations. Now, you look at the other modern example of impeachment, and that was the impeachment of Bill Clinton, right? Now, the reason I bring that up is because it's really fair to make that comparison because, again, the Bill Clinton impeachment actually was a political impeachment. Because what they did is, look, Bill Clinton lied to Congress about his affair with Monica Lewinsky, his intern, and then decided, well, that was a big enough high crime and misdemeanor to actually push for impeachment. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to play politics. We didn't find anything when it came to Watergate, so we're just going to, get him in trouble for getting a blowjob from the intern and lying about it. Okay, well, now what's funny is that we're going to go back to Lindsey Graham on this one, right? So now Lindsey Graham says, oh, this is a witch hunt. It's a political rectal exam. So we're not going to do anything about this because it's BS, it's crap. We're not going to look at this, move on to for the country, right? We cannot go after Donald Trump. We cannot impeach him for this because this is not a high crime and misdemeanor. So Democrats, let's move on, right? Well, this Lindsey Graham sounds a lot different than 1990s Lindsey Graham when he said this.
Article 3 of impeachment against Richard Nixon, the article was based on the idea that Richard Nixon, as president, failed to comply with subpoenas of Congress. Congress was going through its oversight function to provide oversight of the president. When asked for information, Richard Nixon chose not to comply, and the Congress back in that time said, you're taking impeachment away from us. You're becoming the judge and jury. It is not your job to tell us what we need. It is your job to comply with the things we need to provide oversight over you. The day Richard Nixon failed to answer that subpoena is the day that he was subject to impeachment because he took the power from Congress over the impeachment process away from Congress.
All right, so, hey man, look, if you ignore subpoenas and investigations, well then, I mean, that opens up impeachment. Unless you're Donald Trump. Apparently. Again, that's weird because it seems like Lindsey Graham was okay with impeachment and using the Richard Nixon example when it comes to Bill Clinton, but then not cool with impeachment when it comes to his BFF, Donald Trump, when, of course, they did the same thing. Again, he was arguing the same thing. If you are not providing documents, requested documents, and not answering subpoenas from Congress, which is what Donald Trump is doing at exactly this moment, then that opens you up for impeachment. And he has said a lot more on this, which, of course, makes him... Look, it's almost as if Lindsey Graham is being nakedly partisan at the same time he's been talking about rectal exams. I do declare this is not good. I may end up on the fainting couch here because I just cannot believe that Lindsey Graham will be such a hypocrite. Really? Now, one more point here. Again, the Mueller report, I have to stress this, strictly looked at Trump, Russia. Very limited in scope. Now, it's important to note that some of the things that they found during the course of that investigation did spin off into separate investigations. You know why? Because it was outside of Mueller's mandate. That's why some of the investigations into the financial stuff that were spread from, for example, seizing some of the documents from Michael Cohen went to the Southern District of New York to look into and went into these other smaller satellite investigations to the Mueller investigation. So the central theme, though, of this investigation, the Mueller investigation that they continue to complain about, was a conspiracy between Trump and Russia. If there was no conspiracy, like the report says, and like I believe, then why not let Mueller testify to confirm those findings? Why not? Why not? Let's get some clarity on this issue. Let's talk about it so that we don't have to talk about the collusion or whatever, right? That was not mentioned in the report. They didn't actually mention the word collusion in the report. They mentioned criminal conspiracy. So, hey, why don't you have them testify so that we can clear this whole thing up? Oh, wait, for some reason they don't want to do that, and I'm kind of curious as to why. I mean, look, seeing how afraid of Trump, or how afraid Trump is of this redacted report and of unredacting certain parts of it, and his minions like Lindsey Graham, when they see that, well, they also get nervous too. Like, wait a minute, what is he hiding? Well, now I've got my political career tied to his. And now, I might be lying on his behalf. Well, that's not good. So the question is, what else is he hiding? Evidence of money laundering? I don't know. Maybe some sort of crime, maybe nothing. But he sure wants to hide. There is something that is making Trump world incredibly spooked about the possibility of Mueller testifying, and I'd love to know why. And I think the American people would also love to know. As for Lindsey, complete and obvious hypocrite and Trump stooge. That's who Lindsey Graham is. All right. We'll come back. We got Joy Behar versus Meghan McCain. Some fun video on that right after the break. Send your super chats and your messages. We'll read those, and we'll be right back around the nation. Welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here. Jeff Waldorf here with you. Got a couple of comments here from members. Martin Trammell says, hold on, I actually didn't get that message. Okay, scratch that one. Platypi says, my name looks good on ballot paper. So yeah, I want to congratulate you for running a good race. I'm sorry I did not get the time to interview you before that race with the whole moving and stuff. I do apologize for that, but I promise I'll make that up to you when you run. And you do plan on running again, from what I've seen in the comments. So, hey, you spent zero money and got a lot of votes, so that's kind of awesome. So I love that. Let's see, 487 votes in the 49-day day and spent $0. Well, that is super awesome. So everybody give a hand to her for that. Because you know what? That's democracy. And I love to see that. And I love to see it when people get motivated to try to actually make real change by running for office. So everybody, she deserves big props. So, all right. More here. Let's see. See if I have any more comments. You guys have a lot of great comments. Yeah, I don't have a way to fix the static. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, so I have to figure that out first. But okay. Don't worry, I'll work on it, guys. So let's do the next story, so we can finish the show up and I can get to fixing some stuff. All right. Should fix that. All right. Weird how it's affecting some people but not others. That is really strange. Okay, it's apparently back. Oh, it's so weird. All right, moving on. Now, the host of The View recently talked about Donald Trump's decision to storm out of a meeting with Democratic leaders. That's Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. They were going to talk about an infrastructure bill, and Trump decided after 3 minutes to basically storm out. Now, unsurprisingly, on The View, Meghan McCain said something incredibly ridiculous and then got called out for it by her co-host. Now, first I want to show you McCain's comments, and then I want to break down why she's wrong, and then we'll get to Behar's response. Take a look.
I think it's a really sad day for America.
Yep.
And I think that the days of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill are so long gone. I don't understand why Nancy Pelosi was talking about engaging in a cover-up just moments before a meeting. I don't understand why he even took a meeting if he was saying, I can't even engage in this bill unless the investigations stop. It's the worst kind of party posturing on all sides. And when I was watching it, I was like, Joe Biden's message of working with the other side is looking really good to me right now in a lot of different ways. So I think that America can do so much better than this.
Okay, so that's her response. I'm sorry, that's her statement. So first of all, she praises Joe Biden, which automatically is like, makes Joe Biden even worse. So if you're even considering him, which I was not, to be fair, that's another strike against him. But okay, let's do the both sides thing. Let's blame both sides for this whole thing. Why can't the two sides just why don't they just work together, man? We can do so much better. You know, she's right about one thing. We can do so much better. And you know how we could? Get rid of all the Republicans, because they're absolutely terrible. But you know why she says Joe Biden, by the way, is so right when he says we got to do bipartisanship, right? Well, right now, working with Republicans means agreeing with them on basically almost everything, at least when it comes to economic issues. On social issues, Democrats, of course, don't agree with Republicans, but on economic issues, they actually do agree quite a bit. And so that's bipartisanship. Oh, the corporations want lower tax rates. Well, we both are going to do bipartisanship, and we are going to work together to help corporations, to help our donors. Oh, well, golly gee, of course. That's what's going to happen here. So, again, that's what Meghan McCain and these Republicans really want. Basically, shut up and agree with me on my right-wing positions. Why can't you be bipartisan? Why you guys got to be so negative? Why you got to be not civil? No, why can't you just shut up and agree with me that giving tax cuts to my donors and to me, people that are trust fund babies, that are that benefit from cutting the estate tax, why don't you just give me everything that I want? That's bipartisanship. No, you know why we're not going to do that, Megan? Because it's basically a trick that the Democrats have been more than happy to fall into. Why? It's because they're part of the same social class. It's class politics. Again, the only difference between Democrats and Republicans really is on social issues. Things like abortion, things like gay marriage, trans rights, etc. But when it comes to economic issues, helping Wall Street, helping the giant corporations, and being quote-unquote business-friendly, they're more than happy to sell everyone else down the river. That's why progressives are so angry with the Democratic Party. But again, talking about how this is a trick. When's the last time you ever saw a Republican head toward a progressive position? And I'm not talking about a socially progressive position, because you can have a couple of examples of Republicans, once it happens to them. For example, I think it was Rob Portman, his son, he found out his son was gay. And he's suddenly like, oh, I'm a champion for gay rights. Well, it's because it happened in your family. Republicans are, if it happens to me, well, then suddenly I actually care about it. But if it doesn't happen to me, then I don't give a crap. I don't give a, I don't care at all. I don't care at all. It has to happen to me first before I can even think about it, right? But, okay, so, again, we're talking about these Republican politicians, right? They never head towards a progressive position. I mean, what would happen if a Republican were to, I guess, be for Medicare for all, right? Now, this would make sense because there is a slight majority of Republicans that are polled that are open to a single-payer Medicare for all system. Medicare is incredibly popular among all, parties, between the both parties in these demographics, right? It's incredibly popular. So now, the obvious extension towards a progressive position for Republican politicians on that, since, if you want bipartisanship, right? Well, then the Republicans could say, okay, look, we don't agree ideologically, even though our base does actually agree with Medicare for all. We don't, but we can come to your position and offer a public option where you still have private and where you actually have a public option. That would be a compromise position, right? That would be Republicans reaching out to the Democrats, to the progressive position, and offering a compromise. Do you ever see that happen? No. That's why right now, public option is the Democratic establishment position. The right-wing position is no single payer. No. I want to give health insurance companies everything, and if you cannot afford it, well, just go ahead and die. Because we don't care about you. All we care about is health insurance profits and profits for Big Pharma. You know why? Because they give us money. They sign our checks. They're our constituents. They're the ones that we actually care about. Even Republican voters say we don't want that system. We hate this system. But people like McCain say, no, that is socialism, and socialism is wrong. Venezuela eating rats. We're going to crush you into the ground. Progressives, because we're not interested. And in the same breath, they will also say, why can't you just be bipartisan and come towards us and work with us? It's supreme hypocrisy. That's my problem with Meghan McCain. But there's more, right? So now let's go to Behar, right? So we've got McCain's position on this, how, you guys aren't bipartisan enough, and you guys really need to reach out. And I'm so sick of this political division. Well, now here's Joy Behar.
I don't really appreciate this false equivalency because let's not forget that Mitch McConnell famously said, let's remind everybody when Obama got into office, his main objective was to obstruct Obama. Okay? Yeah. Well, so this business of Nancy Pelosi is just as bad as he is a bunch of baloney, in my opinion. I'm not, I think everyone's at fault. I mean, it's not. Not everyone's at fault. Look at the original mover here. But Mitch McConnell.
Boom. You see that? Not everyone's at fault for this. No, it's Mitch McConnell, chief obstructionist. Again, Mitch McConnell stood up in front of Congress and said, we're not gonna do anything. We're gonna get nothing done. We're gonna block everything you guys try to do to help the American public, so that we can make sure Obama is a one-term president. And you can look that up. He said that, and that's exactly what they did. He helped steal the Supreme Court nomination of Merrick Garland. Garland was obstructed for over a year, and Donald Trump won the election, and so that's how we got Gorsuch. And then, of course, we also got, Trump got his own Supreme Court pick, and so here we go. We've got a conservative Supreme Court now for decades. And you know what? They also had thousands of thousands of lower court positions that were open during the Obama administration. Why? It's because Republicans continue to obstruct them. And Obama refused to do lame duck appointments. And so what happened? Donald Trump won, and Mitch McConnell has been slowly filling these seats with ultra conservatives. He has completely remade the judiciary in under 3 years in their image. And they did it because of their unprecedented obstruction during the Obama years. Now, does Meghan McCain say anything about that? Absolutely not. No, because she doesn't care. It doesn't help her side. No, the reason that she says, oh, it's both sides, because she's, for one, she's one of the few anti-Trump Republicans. Now, the reason she is an anti-Trump Republican is because Donald Trump literally went after her dad all the time before he died. So they were not friends. So of course she's going to be anti-Trump, but when it comes to policy, I actually do agree. And so, I mean, that's the truth about this, right? Meghan McCain does not care. So look, I don't really care to do bipartisanship with people like Meghan, right? And I certainly don't care about her feelings, okay? Now, one more quote here. And this was after Behar. She said, quote, as long as you demonize all Republicans, even the spirit of what you said just makes me not want to have a conversation with you. We have to put this aside, even us here at The View as well, and politicians in D.C. at a certain point, we have to work together for America. Well, that sounds all well and good, but again, compromise is basically right now going to the Republican side on nearly every issue. But she continues, I, for one, am sick of party politics and what happened in the past. There's blame all around. You can make the argument that started with Newt Gingrich. We are in the present right now. Oh, you don't care about what happened in the past. Hilarious. Now, for one, I don't care if Meghan McCain never wants to have a conversation. I would get nothing from it, and no one would. Nobody really cares about her opinions. Basically, she's only on that show because she is the daughter of John McCain, and because she ends up getting ratings because everybody dunks on her. I mean, you've got the two conservatives are on the show, you've got two progressives on the show, and you got Whoopi Goldberg, who's completely establishment, right? Now, the progressives continue to basically destroy the conservatives on that show every single day. And it makes for great television, but it doesn't make for good discourse because they're not actually talking about issues. Now, Behar is excellent, right? But anyway, let's continue away from just that, and let's talk about more about what she said. The level of demonization, right? I'm sick of Republicans being demonized. As long as you're demonizing them, I don't want to talk to you. Well, now hold on. Who started the demonization? It wasn't progressives. No, Republicans get away with saying some of the worst things about progressives, about Democrats. And so it doesn't hold a candle to the demonization of the right. Besides, what the right does get, they deserve it from basically doing policies and supporting policies that harm a lot of people. So McCain can stuff it. Now, she's also, again, tired about what happened in the past. Well, how convenient for you to just, forget about all the horrible stuff Republican politicians have done in the past. It's like somebody punching you in the face and then a couple of minutes later asking, why are you mad? It's all in the past. We've got to move on, and we've got to work together. Why don't you reach out? Why aren't you being civil, bro? Well, it's because you punched me in the face. And actually, it didn't start with Newt. It started with Ronald Reagan. And it just got nastier as time gone by. Because it's not just about the rhetoric, which has gotten increasingly bad over the years and the decades. But it's also the policy, too, which has gotten even more and more extreme. Republicans pass policy that hurt the majority of Americans while enriching their donors. And Meghan McCain is a beneficiary of that system. She is the daughter of John McCain. She inherited a lot of money. And again, that's the only reason she's relevant, because at the end of the day, she knows absolutely nothing. Behar, on the other hand, she is smart, she is progressive, and she's more than willing to call her out, McCain out, on her absolute BS. Okay. That's it. That's all I have time for. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Love you guys. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See you guys tomorrow.